Hi, so let's dive right in and get started. So I'm here with a freshly washed face. I just took a shower and wearing no makeup at the time. Let me show you what kind of makeup mistakes I used to make up until not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago. I still made some of these. I did some of these things. And when I was younger, back in the 80s, when I was really, really young, and in the 90s, I feel like it was almost appropriate for the time because, 80s were kind of crazy. You had big hair and weird clothes and you could wear weird makeup with it. But now we're in 2022 and some of the things just don't fly anymore. This side of the face is going to be the no, don't ever do this face. And this side is going to be the okay face, right? So let's get started. I'm not going to use moisturizer today because I'm not going to go back outside. I just make this video real quick and then I wash off everything again. And so what I will do on my to-do side is use a primer. So I used to never use primer, so that's why this side doesn't get any. And maybe back in the 80s they didn't have primers. I'm not really sure. I don't remember seeing them, but I definitely didn't use them. So now I use primers all the time, and I use primers mostly for filling up my gigantic craters of so-called pores, because I feel like it just makes it look better. It just gives me a better surface, a smoother surface, to which I can then apply my foundation. It also, so the primer I've been using is the one by Georgette Klinger. So this is not an incredibly thick primer. It doesn't really do the best job at covering up your pores. But it is, it's moisturizing. It says it does blur imperfections, so I'm not sure what kind of imperfections they're talking about. Definitely not the pore size so much, but it does give you a very silky feel to your skin. So I'm gonna apply this one. It's a pretty decent primer. It's not super thick. So this is very soothe, moisturizing. It feels super silky. It's not thick. It doesn't feel like, you're putting a super blast on your face. Anyway, I'm just gonna apply this half of my forehead, half of my chin, half of my nose. I also put it on my eyelids because I feel like it helps my eyeshadow stay on longer. And then foundation was my number one mistake, probably the biggest mistake I used to make. I used to like to look really tan. So I would go tan back in the day. You know the deal. We never used sunscreen, most of us. Played outside, we liked the tan look. We thought it looked sexy and it looked healthy. And yeah, so I try to get as tan as possible in the summer. And sometimes I added more color to my face by using a foundation color that just really didn't match my skin. And yeah, that looks pretty bad. You've probably done this mistake, or you've made this mistake before, right? I think all of us have, but it's just not pretty. So I got this one, this foundation by Rare Beauty. I bought this, I don't know, a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and it might even be a good foundation. I'm not sure because I bought it in the wrong shade and I still have it. This shade is way too dark for me, as you will see very soon. It's 360W, so it's a warm undertone. Another thing I did that really didn't turn out well for me was the application method. So I would either put it on with my hands, and that was okay, but a lot of times I thought it was just cool to use a foundation brush because I've seen it on, I don't know, videos and other people that they used foundation brushes. And I thought, hey, this is kind of cool and stylish. Well, this side. I'm just gonna do that too. And that never worked for me. I just cannot use foundation brushes. That does not look good on me because it looks very streaky. I can see almost every single hair on my face. It's just, it doesn't look good. So let's see. So it comes with one of these doe foot applicators. So it's like super dark. If you can see this, then I have to use my little mirror here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a few dots on here and on my forehead. So you can already see how super dark and yellowish this is. You know, I've come to believe, or I think that maybe warm foundations with a warm undertone are not the best choice for me. I used to think that I'm a pretty warmed skin person. I get this olive colored skin in the summer, but actually I like neutral foundations better on me than the super warm ones. So that's what I've come to believe, that maybe I'm not a warm undertone foundation girl. So let's blend this in. And I actually have a stippling brush, which should make it a little better, but still not great. So I'm gonna do half of this. Put it down. See how terrible this color is on me. And I would just put a really thick layer on. And I would wear the same kind of makeup on the weekends when I went out to, I don't know, bar or something, and to work or school. Seriously, I made no distinction between the kind of makeup I was using. So this is a pretty full coverage foundation, right? And that's another thing I did. I really wanted full coverage foundations all the time because I wanted to cover up every imperfection I had. So I used the thickest foundation I could find and then often applied 2 layers. So the foundation I'm going to use on my good side is a lighter foundation. It's actually, I would say this is a medium coverage foundation. It's by CoverGirl, Outlast All Day. This is a really cool foundation. I love this one. It's the 3-in-1 foundation. It has a broad spectrum of SPF 20, and it also acts as a primer, so I wouldn't even have to wear a primer because it says it's got a built-in primer. It has the coverage of a concealer, so they claim it's pretty full coverage. I would say it's medium coverage. Maybe you can build it up to full. It blends really well, and it's just shine-free. So this was, by the way, now that we're speaking of shine, this was another big mistake I made. I would use very glowy products on this side, and you will see in a few minutes, but this was also my foundation. I would use very high shine, juicy foundations because I wanted this healthy glow, which did not look good on my skin because, as I said, I have big pores. Any shine for big pores? No, don't do it. So I've come to use, I finally discovered the matte foundations that they work much better for me. I'm gonna I'm just gonna use 1 pump, and it gives you quite a bit actually, if you just use 1 pump. My favorite application method for every foundation that I'm using now is a beauty sponge. This is awesome. And yes, I know this is a bit dirty. I'm gonna have to throw this in my dishwasher after I'm done here. But this is just perfect. I think most people love a beauty sponge, right? It doesn't have to be a beauty blender. It can be any kind of makeup sponge. It's just great. I mean, it blends your foundation into your skin really well. It takes off the excess foundation. It's just really, really nice. Whoever came up with this was a genius, I swear. So let me just tap it in. So half of my chin. Another thing I did, I always had this brown line. I never blended down. I just always had this really harsh makeup line. This is something I did as a teenager. Maybe not so much as an adult, but it was ridiculous, seriously. So now I don't do that anymore. And since this is super wet, it's taking off a lot of my foundation product. So I might have to apply a little more. So now I'm just gonna blend this down. I'm just gonna take another pump. I usually wouldn't, but this is really wet because I just tried to wash it and I put a little bit too much water on it. So it's soaking up too much of the product at this very moment, right? So I just figured if I use an extra pump, which I normally wouldn't do. You see how much better this tone fits my skin? I mean, look at this. It's just so much better. And then, of course, blend it down. Okay, Let me have the quick check in my round mirror. Yeah. Okay. And sometimes I blend it out with my fingers if I feel like I got too much on. But the color is definitely better. And to let you know what color this is, I've had this for a while. Ooh, it actually said it expired last year. Oh my God. I need to throw this out. I had no idea I've had this for so long. Oh my gosh, this foundation expired last year, 21. Okay, I guess I need to throw this out. Replace it. I need to throw it away and replace it with a new one. But the color is 355 Soft Honey, and this is my summer color. So maybe I can buy one shade lighter now that we're gonna have fall very soon. Moving on to concealer. Okay, so I can't really show you my no face side, my bad side, because I don't have the product that I used to use anymore. So let me just describe it to you. So I used really thick, creamy concealer, the one that comes in a round pan, not the liquidy one, but like the really thick consistency. And I would apply it with my fingers, just have it on, because I thought you could fill in your wrinkles. It would make your wrinkles better. You could cover up your puffiness. So no, you cannot. That did not never work. That's why I threw away that product. Did not work. So since I don't have that product, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this really thick foundation and just apply an extra layer to my under eye area, right? To my wrinkles and my puffies on this side. So it's very similar. So let's cover up my wrinkles, right? So, okay, and I'm gonna tap this in with a finger because that's what I used to do, or I would smear it in even with a finger, just like, oh my God, this is bad. Bad. Let's see, oh my God, very pretty. No, being sarcastic. Oh. Okay, yeah. Right? On this side, I'm going to use a lighter concealer, a very light coverage. Well, not super light, but I've been using the one by Maybelline. I love this. I love this little guy. It works so well for me. I've tried it before, and then the applicator broke, and I had to throw it away because I couldn't open it when, there was still like a lot of product in there. So I was kind of upset, but then I gave it another try. I've been really loving this little guy. It's great. It's just, it comes with this little foamy applicator that you can just tab on. You just twist it. And key here is that you use the right color for your under eye area, right? So don't use dark like over here, because that's just going to make you look like a raccoon or something, or like you got a hangover or whatever. Don't use too light, because that's going to make you look like a ghost, like the reverse hangover type. Use the right color, which means maybe 1 or 2 shades lighter than your foundation color. And then I would tap this in again with, and you don't have to use as much as I just did, but I just used a little too much right now, but it's good. It's good. See the difference? See how this actually accentuates my wrinkles and my puffies and everything that shouldn't be there, but it is. Yeah. So let's move on to the powder. Something I did back in the day, 10 years ago. So something I did when I was, 10 or 20 years younger was I would powder my entire face. I would usually I would take a compact powder because it was easier and less messy. I don't use compact powder anymore for some reason. Not because I applied it wrong, but I prefer loose powder, and I prefer powder that's transparent or much lighter because I don't apply it to my entire face anymore. But what I'm going to use for this is the RCMA powder. And I'm going to do my good side first. So what I do is I bake under my eye just slightly. I use a sponge. I tap it on here and also on my eyelid because I feel like, and also where I have the super big pores because I do think that it covers up the pores a bit. And it soaks away most of the powder here because it's such a wet sponge. And then on this side, I would cover my entire face in powder. So let me just find a powder brush. Let's see. I'll use this one, the one from IT Cosmetics. This is a great brush. Just swirl it in there and just powder, powder away. Yep. So the reason why this is not good anymore at my age is because it actually has an aging effect. If you use too much powder, it clings onto your wrinkles. It's not pretty, right? If you want to use it to cover up your pores a bit, just do the baking, this slight version of baking. And basically you press it into your, eyes. Yeah. And then let it sit for a couple of minutes and then you just brush the excess away. So definitely I definitely do not apply this to my entire face anymore. Oops. Let's move on to the contour. I recently bought a palette from Beauty Bakery, Milk and Honey palette. And I thought it was a palette that had everything in it, like the contour, the blush, the highlighter, right? Bronzer. Well, it doesn't. It's not. It's a highlighter palette. All of these are highlighters in different shades. So that is really very discouraging because I was so excited because they said it's like a very creamy consistency, which is true, but it has terrible color payoff. It's just a highlighter. So yeah, so I'm going to continue with my very old and tried contour highlighting bronzing palette from Nomad. You can't even read the writing on the box anymore because I've had this for so long. This has probably expired too. I mean, it says on here 12 months. Yeah, I've definitely opened this a long time ago, but I love it. And when I found out that this was such a disappointment, I was going to replace this with this, but now I'm going to just have to hang on to this for a little longer until I can find an appropriate replacement. So first I'm going to contour my nose a bit. And I like to contour this side to make it just a little smaller or thinner. I used to not contour my nose, so I'm just not going to contour the other side. Now I need, this. So what I would do is contour around my hairline. I always contour here, just under my jawline. Did never do this. I didn't do a lot of contouring when I was younger. Actually, to be honest. My contour was mostly here on my cheeks. And this is what I don't do as much anymore. I just use a bronzer and apply that to my cheeks, right? Okay. That's it for this side. Okay, moving on to the other side. I'm gonna use this palette here from Beauty Bakery, Milk and Honey. It's like I said, a highlighter palette. It looks really pretty. It says, so creamy, you don't need butter. You'll be all the sugar after you milk that glow with our silky smooth milk and honey highlighters. Okay, so these are all highlighters. And what I did do in the past, I would put a lot of glow, a lot of glow. I would put a lot of shine and glow and glitter on my cheeks. So maybe this palette would work for that. I just gotta find the right brush because the color payoff of these smoothie and silky things is kind of ridiculous. So I'm gonna use maybe this one. I need a brush that's a slightly thicker packed. So I'm just gonna dip it into here. See how shiny this is? Oh my gosh. And I would go all the way to the apples, just almost my entire face pretty much. Start out here by the ear and bring it into my nose. You see that? So I had this big round thing here. And just use that, the other color, apply that on top. And sometimes I would use really bright blush as well. So I'm going to top it off with this blush, although that's not super bright, but just to, okay. And then we're just going to put the highlighter on there too, the white one, the lightest one, and put this on my nose because I thought that was really sexy. And then I would put it on my forehead, right? Something like that. So lots of shine on this side, no shine on this side. But I will put some highlighter on here. I'll put my highlighter on with my fan brush, which I really love. This is a great brush. So I'm just gonna dip it in here and then just very lightly put it on the top of my cheekbone, right? And now I'm gonna go get some blush anyway. Be right back. Okay, so while this is super nice and shiny, I feel like there's some color missing. So I would go out with a lot of blush on my cheek. So that's why I grabbed this little palette by Anastasia. It has really good colors. I mean, I think it's okay if you use it very lightly, right? But the way I would use it, and I would always go for something like this. Oh, let me use a brush and take this one here in the middle. And then I would like also make like this big round ball here on the apple of my cheek. Or they used to say, go like this. And then just with an emphasis here on the apple. Why do I still feel like it's not enough color? I used to love red blush or very bright pink brush. See how glowy this is? This is ridiculous. Anyway, for my good side, I picked something in a more subtle color. This is by Bare Minerals. It's in Mauve Sunrise. Looks like this. Now this suits me pretty well. Use this brush from Real Techniques. Okay. And I'm just gonna apply it on lightly. And I do not go all the way in. I stay out here, right? Just right below my highlighter, right? This doesn't have the best color payoff either, but okay. Okay. Now that is the face. Let's move on to the eyes. So just to finish up my face real quick, I'm gonna use setting spray from CRT. It's the Watermelon Burst. It's really refreshing. Love it. I'm gonna apply it to both sides. Let's be fair this time. Okay. All right. So moving on to the eyes. Okay, so I was never someone who was big on eyebrows. When I was much younger, I never applied anything to my eyebrows because I have naturally very thick eyebrows. And in fact, I do get them waxed regularly because I just do not like my eyebrows. It's just too much. just with the way my eyes are, it wouldn't look good to just have really big and huge eyebrows. So I never did much on this side, but there was a trend going on for a while where everybody had these rectangle bar eyebrows, these really thick, really weird looking ones. And I tried that for a while because I thought, if other people do it, it's gotta be modern or popular and good looking. So I'm gonna try that too. So that's what I'm gonna do on my no side. And I will use for this the Dip Brow Pomade from Anastasia Beverly Hills in medium brown. And what I would also do, I would use something that's way too dark for my eyebrows. Just my eyebrows would look really big and really dark. So that's a big mistake. If you want to fill in your eyebrows, just don't use anything that's darker than your eyebrows. In fact, I would use something that's slightly lighter than your eyebrows because that can go bad real fast. So the trend was, okay, you would draw up this big, and you would make this big box here right at the beginning, right? Now you can tell that I'm not very skilled because I don't do this. I used to not do this very often, but I've tried it a few times. And I think I quickly realized that this was just a terrible idea. You see that? So you have these really rectangular bars. You have this thick piece here right at the beginning. And then you really fill in your eyebrows thick where they almost look, or where they do look like they're drawn on. And people would pretty much really draw a line and just make them look like rectangle bars. It was just weird to me, right? But I did it. I followed along. I thought, hey, if this is a trend that the beauty gurus do, I gotta do it too. Because, we want to be hip. So yeah, that's it. Now this beginning is like the worst thing in the world. But okay. Eyebrow on. Eyebrow on. Let's move to the better side. So this is what I do now. As I get my eyebrows waxed, sometimes, they become a bit sparse. I feel like I could do some filling in now. I definitely use a pencil because it just gives you a lighter hand. You can just fill in with some really light strokes where you need it. Some pencil strokes. It's not that hard to keep a light hand. It's like you can't really go overboard that fast. So what I just do is, and I don't really draw on a shape now. I just very lightly, where my eyebrows are a little thinner, I would just go back and forth. And sometimes I add a little bit here on the end because people who wax my eyebrows, they go a little bit too heavy-handed on the wax. So now look at this difference. Really? I mean, okay. It's not that hard to tell that this is bad, right? Yeah. Okay. Great. Then of course I gotta brush it a bit. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of times these makeup trends that other people invented or really promoted, they weren't great for me. They just didn't work out like this year. It's just a really bad idea for me. I didn't like it on anybody, but hey, that's just me, right? So this is much better. Let's move on with the eyeshadow. I'm going to work with this palette, with the Heat palette from the Naked Heat from Urban Decay. This is a very, it's kind of a neutral palette, which is great for fall with a lot of brown tones. So what I used to do when I was younger, I had a very heavy hand on the eyeshadow. I used very, very dark colors because I liked the dark smoky look, and I just overdid it completely. I did use a lot of glitter. I just made my entire eye look really dark. Yeah. So let me go ahead and get started. So I do have some glitters in here. So I'm gonna apply those glitters. And what I did was I used the darkest color on my the movable part of my eyelid, and then I went lighter. So I didn't really put anything in the crease, and if I did, it was shimmer, glitter, shine. So that is not a good idea. Okay, so let me go ahead and just use a glittery color. Apply that all over my lid. Very heavy-handed. I basically just used one color right there. If I did a crease, it was extremely glittery, so let me use a glittery crease color here. And sometimes I would take that all the way up, right? So you would put the darkest color. Sometimes either I went lighter from dark to light or from light to dark, right? So depending on what I felt like. So either I put the darkest right here and then went lighter, or I put medium dark here. I didn't work with like super light colors. I liked my colors, so, right? So right here, this looks like what I would have worn back in the day when I was less experienced, let's call it that. I kind of want to fix it, but I know I shouldn't because that's what I looked like. Let's see. Is this appropriate? Yes, this looks very much like. I felt like I had a little bit more on my, yeah, like right here. That is not enough. I had more. And I took it all the way in. So I did not put anything light in the corner of my eyes or anything like that, like people would. And then sometimes I would use the darkest shimmery color. And take that under my eye. Oh my god, this is so much glitter. It drives me crazy. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's bad. So this is really bad. All right, so very, very, very bad. Okay, I'm gonna use the same eyeshadow palette for the good side, just to show you it's not the palette, right? It's not the palette's fault. It was my fault, my inexperience. And I'm gonna use, so first I will apply a neutral tone to my entire eyelid, just to create a canvas, a nice base, right, to which I can then apply the darker colors. So something like this. I would take that all the way up into my crease, all the way out. I'm actually using this second color here. It's pretty light. Okay, good. And I would take a big fluffy brush. I take this one, I think, and I use that for my crease. So for the crease, now I build it up, right? I go from, maybe I use this color here next. And I use a very light hand. I'm sorry if the sun shines in here on my left side, but it's late in the afternoon. So, see? And then, let me see. Yeah, I definitely need a little bit more color in my crease. And I will go to the next darker color. And just, with a light hand, just either back and forth, or you can draw circles. And I want to blend it up a little. Kind of like that, which looks much, much better. And then what I will do next is I just add a little bit of color here to this part, but I don't go all the way into the corner because I got other plans for the corner, the inner corner of my eye. So just use that here. And now I want to use something that will darken up that outer corner. So now what I can do now, if I really want to use glitter, I'm going to use the lightest glitter color, which is called, oh my goodness, Lumbre. So that would be this color, right? And I just put that, the outer corner, right? Just like this, and go up. Could use a little more. So just to darken up that outer corner, and then I will just a blending brush here, blend this out so we don't have any sharp lines. Of course, I never did any blending in the past. Okay, now I saved the lightest color for last, and there is a light color in here. It's called Ounce. It's not it has a slight shimmer to it, but it's really not very shimmery. It's just really, it's barely noticeable. What I will do now is put a little bit in here, right, to lighten that up, not darken it up. Yeah, if anything, I would have probably darkened this up back in the day. So I would have used this color and darkened it up, right? Something like this. Okay, another thing I want to do now is that I want to apply this light color under my brow, on my brow bone, just to highlight this a little bit, right? Now this should not be glitter or shimmer or anything like that. It should just be a bright, not too bright, but a light color, a light little eyeshadow color that just highlights this up here to draw the attention up to your eyebrows, right? To open up the eye. That is done. What comes next? Eyeliner and eyeshadow, eyeliner and mascara. Again, I went for the dark smoky look, the dark sultrous look back in the day, and I used, this is actually dark gray, but I used black all around my eye, waterline, everywhere. So we're gonna, it's almost out too. I need to do some makeup shopping. I just realized. Look at this. This is almost gone. It doesn't, obviously not twist. Okay, let's do this. So I have to look in the mirror here because lower waterline. Okay. Draw a thick wing. Well, for me anyway. Now on this side, and this ages you. Once you're past a certain age, let's say, I don't know, I don't want to offend anyone, but I think I stopped doing this in my mid-40s, and I probably should have stopped doing it a lot sooner. So yeah, you decide, but I don't do that anymore. So instead, I use a white pencil, which opens up the eye. Right? Sometimes I will tightline, but not today. Instead, I decided to use a liquid eyeliner and draw a line on top, right, and push that into my lashes. So that's what I tend to do now. A very fine eyeliner. Again, the purpose is here not to close off your eye. Can you see this big difference? It's amazing, right? How this looks much brighter and more open than this. So yeah, big difference. In terms of mascara, I really didn't do too much differently back in the day. I think the only mistake I made was I used the wrong type of mascara, something that would smear and I would flake. So a lot of times I was wearing my mascara down here on my skin. It was just that. I mean, I found what mascaras work for me better. And this is one of my favorites here. It's called Damn Girl from Too Faced. I love the brush. I think I've talked about this before. It's just a really thick, fluffy brush, and it does a great job at separating your eyelashes, so you don't get the spiky look. Yeah, that's a thing I used to do. I used to always have these spiky things that comes from the wrong brush, but not anymore. So, right? Okay. I also applied way too much to my lower lashes, so I would have this really bad look, and it would smear. So I try to just barely touch my lower lashes now, just to give it a little bit of thickness, but not that much. So I think the next thing that we gotta do are lips, and then we're done, right? Speaking of lipstick, so there are two mistakes I used to make. I either put on really dark lipstick, or I put on lipstick with a non-existing color. So basically, something like this. Well, this has a little brown color to it. I had worse. Something that basically just looks like concealer on your lips, and that because I thought, oh, nude lip colors are in and stuff. But yeah, not that kind of nude. You still need some definition to your lips. So what I did was never outline my lips. So yeah, that is looks like blah, right? Even with the big eyeshadow look and the shimmer on my cheeks, it still looks like crap. But what I do now, if I want to go for a neutral look, is I will prep my lip with something um that plums it. So I have this plumbing lip balm from Becca, I think it is. Yeah. So this is blue, but it doesn't show up blue, but it's really great. It works a little bit. These plumbing lip balms, they can't do miracles, but they help a little bit. So first I do that. I picked a lip color from It Cosmetics. It's not even a lip color. It's the Chenaissance Qui, Chenaissance Qui in Rosé. So it's very neutral, but it has a little bit of rose tone to it. But what I will do to enhance this is use a lip liner for this. So it can be a little darker. So this is from Milani Color Statement Lip Liner in 09 Spice. And I will list and link all the products down below in the description box in case you're curious about one of these products and you want to find out more. So I do overline a little bit, but not too much. Good. Great. Now let's apply this barely there. And you know that another reason why I love this is because it feels super soft and hydrating. So I really don't like matte lip colors or lipsticks. For me, they have to be creamy. And hydrating. One last step. Because I'm going for the fuller lip look here on the good side, I'm gonna apply a little bit of lipstick as a lip gloss as well. And I honestly don't know who this is from. It says fresh pressed. It's just very juicy, hydrating, has very little color. Tastes good too. Okay, this completes the look. What do you think? Which side is better? Is there a big difference in your opinion? I'm not sure if it shows up on the camera that much, but this is definitely very, very glowy and it does not look good. Trust me. The eye, well, yeah, that's a little too much in my opinion. It's kind of dark. This just looks like it opens the eye up. Lip color, I think I could have done a little more here, but I was going for a neutral look. So if you are going for a neutral look, don't do this kind of neutral look. It just ages. Again, everything ages here on this side. Yeah. That completes this tutorial. So if you've done any of these mistakes, trust me, I have too. That's why we have YouTube now, right? We can learn from others and we can improve and we can do things differently and better. And as we age, there are just things we have to adapt, right? We have to change. We use different products. We do different techniques. Not everything that used to work as a 20-year-old still works for a 40 or 50-year-old. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, first time here, please make sure you subscribe. I will see you in my next video.